Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning into the show today and always. I am so thankful and so grateful for you all to be here with me and only me today. Billy is doing something. He is on. Okay, let's start again. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today with me and only me. It's only me today. We're throwing it back old motherfucking school. You follow what I'm saying? Old school, a year ago, sitting in a box, New London, Connecticut. Just me, screaming, yelling. That's, I've really been reflecting on that time a lot, I've been reflecting on my time in New London, Connecticut, in the state of Connecticut, whatever, right? My time last year, okay, the year of 2022, the year of our Lord, 2022. It was a pivotal year in my life. It was a pivotal year in my life because it allowed me to become a lunatic. It allowed me to be in my one room apartment, my studio, mini loft, whatever the fuck fancy words they used to sell it to me. And I had my car and I would go to the gym and I would drive places and I had to drive all over the place for comedy and everything. And my life now is so different. It's better. I can say that. I can say that it's better. Although I feel like I made a pretty good case when I was living there, all the countless episodes, however many episodes I did in the year, right? At least, I was doing 2 a week, 2 a week. That's over 100 episodes. So all those episodes, most of which I was alone, screaming, yelling, talking about my life in a very negative light. And it was good. It was good, guys. That's what I'm here to tell you. It was good. It wasn't good then, okay? I mean, it was, but I didn't realize after the fact that it was good that I was going crazy in that apartment. It was good that I really didn't have many friends that I could hang out with until I moved, right? Until like the last few weeks, the last few months of my time there, right? Most of the time I'd drive places to go to open mics and then I'd get a very brief view of people because I didn't want to be anywhere. I didn't want to meet anyone. I didn't want to do anything. Connecticut fucking blew. It was boring. But I needed that. I needed to be further away from my friends and family, right? I needed to be far from them. I needed to be an hour away, which really isn't that far. Now I'm 4 hours away, but I needed to be away from them. It's good to be away from those people, right? It's good to be away from the people who care about you. You got to distance you. You got to put miles between you. You got to, because then you really test it. You really test the, you test the relationships you have with people, and that matters, right? That does matter. Because you might move somewhere else. You might move to another fucking country, right? But if you're, if you're able to check in with people, if your roots are strong, then you'll be okay. But my point here isn't all sunshine and rainbows, right? It was, that year was very much a learning curve for me, right? I learned that you need people. Right? You do need people. As much as you don't want people, you need them. Whether you like it or not, you do need people around in some facet. I spent a lot of my time in New London wandering the streets drunkenly looking for something to do. There was never anything to do in that town. Very rarely was there anything to do in that town. So I would, I was friends with Brian, who was the bartender at a bar about 30 steps from where I lived, where I would frequent there in the snow, and I would sit there and talk to him about Bill Hicks and really obscure art references, and there'd be other weirdos who would go in there as well, and we would hang out, and that was okay. It felt like a time capsule, right? The Dutch Tavern, I used to talk about it all the time. It was a good place. I was close to it. I could walk, and it was cool in the snow. You could see the snow, and you sit outside, and you smoke cigarettes, and it's a good time. But I spent a lot of my time in Connecticut wandering around, looking for shit, looking for something to do, and I never found any. Whereas here, if I wandered around, I could find plenty of things to do. I could do illegal stuff. I could start a business. I could do whatever the fuck I wanted in a day, right? Each day, if I wanted to, I could become a drug lord / poet / pasta maker / cobbler. Like you could do whatever the fuck you want. And really, because of that, it kind of makes you not want to do shit. Right, you kind of understand why New Yorkers have like a quick, fast, fuck you attitude. It's you kind of get it, right? I've only been living here, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months, something like that, half a year, and it's already happening to me where it's like I don't have time for you to, we're quick over here. Everybody's very quick. I didn't mean to say we, like I'm, this lifelong whatever, but everybody's very quick. Nobody has any time for nonsense and bullshit, and it's an interesting way to live. Whereas in New London or in Connecticut as a whole, everybody has time for nonsense and bullshit. They seek out nonsense and bullshit because their lives are devoid of any spontaneity, any adventure. Right? There's really nothing in that bullshit barren state of Connecticut, and I'm really getting flashbacks the more I talk about it here. I would drive an hour to the shit town of New Haven, which is supposed to be one of the crown jewels of that bullshit state, right? It's supposed to have Yale, where they sacrifice and eat babies. It's supposed to have, it's supposed to be a college town, the best pizza, right? It's supposed to be all these things, Dave Portnoy, and the pizza is good, right? The pizza might be one of their redeeming qualities, but maybe not enough. It might not be enough because it's better than Hartford. I could say it's better than Hartford, and Hartford's the capital. Hartford is an absolute dump. It looks like a ghost town. It looks like Chernobyl. Okay, if you go to downtown Hartford, it looks like Chernobyl. You'd wish it was Chernobyl, because at least in Chernobyl, there's some cool shit. Like you could see like a three-eyed wolf or something that's glowing. You can go fishing in a river and you pull out some fish with legs, right? It would be, at least there's something. No, that's not in Hartford, Connecticut. And New Haven, Connecticut might be a little bit better than that. But my point is I would drive on the highway 45 minutes from where I live to go there, to go to a bar called Dangles. Okay, Dangles, a really real edgy name for a Jamaican cuisine restaurant. I don't know why they'd call it Dangles, but anyway, I would go there and I would do open mics, and I met some people, and that was good. And then I would leave there and drive to Manchester, Connecticut, which is a little more north in the I want to say it's in the Hartford region. I don't know if that's true. It's probably not, and I really don't care about the topography of that state unless I find out that they're bulldozing it all down and they're building a mall or something, or a stadium. Put a stadium there. Get rid of the state of Connecticut and put the biggest stadium that there's ever been created, and you can have as many events. Taylor Swift can sell it out 6 nights in a row. Do that. I would prefer that. And you guys know how much I hate Taylor Swift. I would prefer that than, have her and Travis Kelce fuck each other 6 nights in a row for 3 hours a night. You could put music on in the background. Every once in a while, she looks at the crowd and sings a lyric while she's getting piped down by a big NFL tight end. So, you can do that, right? You can do that with that state. It's the only reason I care. But I would drive an hour to Manchester, go to another club called, well, not a club, a bar called the Hungry Tiger, and I would do a mic there, and I would do 5 minutes there. And there I really didn't meet anybody because it was my second one. I'm driving, whatever, right? And you've heard all these stories before, but I just, for whatever reason, I've been reminiscing on it and thinking about it and how different my life is now, because I don't even have a car and I want one because I want to be able to go play. It's a trade-off that I'm willing to make, of course, right? I love having a car and the freedom that a car gives you. You can drive to different places and get out of the city. Now that I don't have a car, I want one so I can leave the city and do gigs out of state and whatever else. But the better life here in New York is a good trade-off. I think there's and I don't need to I've said it ad nauseum already at the beginning of this episode, And the only reason I brought it up is because I am here alone today. I'm here alone because Billy is working, as I've said in the past. He does have a life. He has a life outside of this where I do not. I do not have a life. This is my life, oddly enough. This is how I operate. You guys know that already. But yeah, Billy's busy. I'm here with the laptop on my lap. We're going to, we got some production value going on here. I can't show you guys what I have on my screen. I can't even get it up on the TV. I don't even know why I'm just looking at myself on the TV right now because it's so cool. It is so cool. I just want to take a second, guys, to say that even though the show hasn't really grown in the sense of viewership, the show has grown in the sense of creativity and production value and how it looks and how it sounds and everything. And I owe a lot of that to Billy. But it's awesome that this show started in a dirty, dusty basement of a ex-girlfriend's house, right, who I moved in with probably too quickly, where we rushed that relationship. But it doesn't matter because it spawned this, right? It spawned this low-level podcast that I enjoy doing and people seem to think is cool. At least for now, right? Because I'm sure I'll age out of this if it doesn't take off or I don't start making some money off it. I'll age out of this, I'm sure, just like most people do. Because it's cool now when I'm 26, but at 36, it's like, you do a podcast and what happened? But you understand. But this thing started off in a dirty fucking basement with three $30 microphones. One of them that I bought off Wish.com that ended up being the dummy child microphone that worked the least best. And then I bought a little table from these Chinese girls that live down the street, right? And then I was able to, and then we started there and I had the big comfy chair and there was no cameras. And now I'm in New York City in my room that I pay way too much money for. But we have good cameras. The Instagram videos look good. The microphones look good. I have a co-host. We have a TV on the fucking wall, and the future looks fucking bright and endless for this show. And I thank you, anybody that does listen. Again, nobody does in the grand scheme of things, but I thank you guys, the ones that do. You are not only helping me keep my delusions running, but you make me very happy in the process. So, yeah, we're going to do what we normally fucking do on this show, and we're going to talk some shit about some stupid shit that's going on. You guys know I love that. Hey, listen, we may have just had, this past weekend, we may have had the biggest, let's just restart. We had a coup this weekend. That is what people are calling what had transpired at a voting session between the House, right, and the Senate and whatever the fuck. And they were deciding on whether or not to shut the government down. For those of you who haven't heard this story, this is a major coup. This is what Republicans are calling a coup in this country. Representative Jamaal Bowman, a Democrat from New York, is trying. They're going to punish him. They're seeking to punish him because he pulled a fire alarm in a Capitol office building Saturday. And the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, who they're actually considering getting rid of at the moment. I only know that because of recent whatever. He's comparing it to the January 6th riot at the building. Now, what's super interesting about this is the January 6th Capitol riot was a massive failure. It was embarrassing. It was maybe one of the saddest, most pussy coups that a country has ever initiated, right? I mean, that's how sheltered we are in this country. We are calling what happened on January 6th a coup when in other countries there's people literally uprising, marching into cities, marching into towns, into capitals. I mean, Moscow almost, there was a coup in Moscow, and they're in a fucking war, like a legitimate coup, right? That's what this country is, and that's January 6th. Forget about this. This is some guy, okay, who is getting a little worried that things may not go in his. This is high school. This is a high school coup. This is a high school coup. Okay? Everybody's in class. It's almost summertime, right? The year's winding down. Maybe it's middle of May. Everyone's sick and tired of this shit, especially the seniors. And we live in an 80s movie where somebody is going to go downstairs and pull a fire alarm. Where now, if you pulled a fire alarm in a school, I mean, you'd be arrested and thrown into Guantanamo Bay and questioned, right? They'd send you to Abu Ghraib if they could, but that's what happens in school. I mean, you have to, right? You have to do that in schools now because everybody gets shot and murdered. Whereas in the 80s, you pulled the fire alarm, you got a slap on the wrist. You went on, and as a senior, you banged the freshman, right? That's what you could do in those days, and nobody said anything, even though you were 18 and they were 14. It didn't matter, right? It's the 80s. You could pull a fire alarm, you could smoke in the boys' room, and you can have statutory rape sex with children. At least in the 80s movies, right? Nowadays, you can't do any of that, right? I mean, you can do it, but there's far more repercussions for both offenses there. But this is a high school. This is high school. I mean, what was going on through this kid's mind? I mean, I say kid. He's a grown fucking adult. What was going on through his mind? Jamaal Bowman. Okay, he got a little worried, and he wanted to delay the vote on whether or not they. I mean, I would think. This is just me sitting here speculating. This is me speculating into the ether, okay? I would think that if you have representatives, okay, of the United States, if you have a representative that is so worried about the outcome of a vote not going in his favor, that he would walk out of the room and pull a fire alarm on video. Okay, there's a video here of it. I'm not able to show it to you guys because I'm not as technically savvy. But on video, pull a fire alarm. The fact that a guy would go and do that because he's so nervous of the outcome of a vote, shut the whole fucking thing down anyway. Shut it down. Shut it down. What are you going to do? Put the guy in detention? That's what's really going to happen. This is a high school situation. Okay, and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, if he's still in, right, if he's still in this cult that they have, if he's still the Speaker of the House, then he's the principal. He's the principal, and Jamaal Bowman is going to be suspended. Okay, and I'm pretty sure those are some of the words that they're using in some of these articles. So according to him, according to old Jamaal, who I will be voting for as long as he's still there, he said that the action was unintentional. He didn't mean it. He bumped into it, and I've done that before, okay? I've done it before, but I did it working in a restaurant as a server at the end of the night. Way less trouble you can get in when you do that, right? It's far less substantial consequences, right? If you're doing it that way, and I would suggest that when he does get fired and ends up working in a restaurant, if he really wants to pull the fire, you could do it there. They don't get as mad. So I think this is what he's saying. These are his quotes, okay? Today, as I was rushing to make a vote, I came to a door that is usually open for votes, but today would not open. He said Saturday night. He said Saturday night. I am embarrassed to admit that I activated the fire alarm, mistakenly thinking it would open the door. I regret this and sincerely apologize for any confusion this caused. But I want to be very clear. This was not me in any way trying to delay any vote. It was the exact opposite. I was trying urgently to get to a vote, which I ultimately did, and joined my colleagues in a bipartisan effort to keep our government open. Okay, so maybe he's right. Okay, maybe he's right. I mean, when you look at this picture, it doesn't look like there's a door. It looks like there's not a door in the direction he's going, right? There's like a door to the right of him, and his hand is like on a wall that probably a fire alarm would be on. I don't know how you mistake. I mean, I know sometimes there's doors that say, "Hey, don't press," because there is, an alarm will go off or something. These doors don't seem to have anything that say that, and he's not even facing the doors. I mean, why would there be doors to his right and in front of him? Like, I mean, I don't know. Again, I've never been in the Capitol building. I'm sure there's slime residue everywhere from them slithering all over the place and doing nefarious, horrible activities. Probably fucking each other and whatever else, right? But it looks like it looks like his hand is on a wall. It looks like his hand is on a wall, and there doesn't look to be, from this camera angle, a door in sight aside from the right of him, which he's not even facing. So I don't know. I've been fucked up. Okay, I like to drink, I like to have a good time, and it doesn't seem like this guy did any of that. I have never once pulled a fire alarm. No matter how nervous I was, no matter how nervous I may have been, right? I mean, I've freaked out on mushrooms. I've been to the bottom of my mind, as deep as you can get. I've seen people who've gotten drunker than I have. I've seen people get more fucked up on drugs than I have and gotten nervous and whatever else. I've never once seen a person get so nervous, okay, that they were going to pull the fire alarm. Now, what doesn't make sense to me is he's saying that he would he wants to keep the government open, which everybody voted for anyway. So if that's true, then he would have no reason to pull the fire alarm, other than to just be a jokester, just pull a little joke. Hey guys, it's a joke, It's just I mean, it's funny how we can call this a coup. Right. I mean, people, the Republicans, they're going to go banana. They've already gone bananas on it, Everybody is using this to prop their side up or whatever. Either way, it's funny to me. It's funny to me that something as juvenile as this can be considered a coup in any facet. I mean, people go into cities, stomp on necks. I mean, if we had the opportunity for a legitimate coup, a legitimate revolution, catalyst when people on January 6th, okay? And I'm not saying, hey, listen, I'm not in favor of it. Okay, I'm not in favor of it. I'm not here. I mean, it's at least exciting, right? At least we can see something cool. None of us have been around for a real revolution. I mean, there's the whole gender thing that I maybe they'll call it a revolution at some point, but I mean a real revolution, like people really getting up in arms, right? I mean, we've never really been a part of that, There's really none of that where people are getting, and it's good. It's good. That's a good thing. I'm not saying that, we need that. All I'm saying is there was a legitimate opportunity for those things to take place and mayhem to ensue, and that didn't happen. Now, again, I reiterate that places all over the world are having legitimate coups all the time. Where there's militias rising up and whatever. We just talk about it. We like to talk about it here, We talk and whatever. And this guy he's a revolutionary now. Consider this. This is Jamaal Guevara, okay? He's going to be propped up by the left, right? He's going to be propped up and say he's fighting for us. He's whatever, It's funny. I just think it's funny that a high school prank is now being considered a coup. We'll see what happens to him. We'll see what happens to him. I mean, McCarthy right now, they're voting to keep him or not keep him. Who knows, right? It's a disgusting, ugly world of horror and backstabbing. Okay, very much like The Sopranos, which I'm almost finished with. Finally, I'm very close. I'm in the middle of the last season. What is it? Season 6. I'm in the middle of that, okay, and it's taken up a big part of my fucking life, okay, and I need to finish it because it is a fantastic show, and that has nothing to do with anything. And I figured we can keep going on the government and representative Senate tip before we get into any of the other topical, fun, goofy goof stuff that we can mess around with. I just thought this was interesting. First of all, Senator Feinstein died recently, okay, at 90 years old. 90 years old. You want to lead a state. You want to be part leader of an entire state. One of the biggest, most important states in the country, California. She was a Democrat senator, okay, Dianne Feinstein, and she was 90 years old. 90-year-olds get their license taken from them, their driving license. Okay, 90-year-olds wander around in the streets in their nightgowns, okay, and in their pajamas, looking for their sibling that died 40 years ago in a barn fire. Okay, that's what 90-year-olds do. 90-year-olds are burdens on their family. Okay, they are a parasite. Some of them. Some of these 90-year-olds are just they're walking, breathing dollar signs for some people, especially someone like this, especially a senator who's been in there for years and years and years. I mean, I don't know how long she was there. I'd have to assume 40 years or something, right? Because she died at 90 years old, and she was running a state, a massive, important state in the one of the most important countries in the fucking world. The fact that lady died in office at that age is horrifying. It's horrifying that we'd have people who just because they feed the ideology, just because they are there to, they're figureheads. They're figureheads, and they're willing to do horrible things, okay? They're willing to do it for as long as they fucking can. And to be 90 years old and be doing horrible things for all that, I mean, that lady is roasting. If there's a place in the afterlife where evil people go, that lady's got longevity when it comes to evil shit. And I have no idea what she's done, what hand she's had in. All I know is that if you are a part of this system, if you're a senator, if you're any of that, most of them, a lot of them, are incredibly corrupt, and they get corrupted in a way that it's based on greed, of course, right? Greed, and it's based on power, and it's based on being able to bend rules. When there's rules and they can make them and they can mess with them and whatever, that's where the sinister stuff goes in, right? The sinister nature of politics really creeps in when people start to get corrupted by money and power and their ability to influence the way that society interacts with one another. And this lady did it for as long as anybody can. I mean, my God, what a run at doing what a run at being a part of a horrific system that has given us great success and great things. I mean, we have 30,000 different flavors and brands of chips and ice cream, and she's had a hand in that. She's had a massive fucking hand in that, okay? For being a company woman all these years, being complicit just like all the rest of them are, because their pockets are getting lined. They're lined. I dare you to tell somebody that's making as much money as these people are to stop. Okay, if there's no term limits, if there's no governing body, if there's no body to step in and say, "Hey, you're really old. Maybe this age thing is clouding your judgment. Maybe we should get you out of here." If you're making money, if you're making all that money and people kiss the ground you fucking walk on, you got bills, you've been living a certain way your whole fucking life, you're not going to stop. You're never going to stop till they throw dirt on you. Go ahead. Give me the child, I'll eat it. Give me the pint of its blood, I'll sign this state's life away. I'll sign it away. What's that? Homeless people? Good. Good. Bring them in. Bring them in. Bring them in. Leave them on the street. Leave them on the street. Bring in homeless people. Leave them on the street. Good. We're the liberal state, right? And it doesn't matter. It's not a liberal or a conservative thing for me. It's, that's just the particular policy there. So she's dead. She's dead and good. Okay, it'd be nice if more of these ancient fucking turn them into oil, press them into batteries for us, right? There's supposed to be human energy. There's supposed to be energy in all of us. Take all these old fucks and press them into batteries to power things for us. They would suit us much more if they went ahead and did that. If they found a way to take the electricity that we give off as humans and take all the aging senators and Republicans or representatives, McConnell, all these guys, and mush them into batteries, harnessing their energy so that we can have Teslas and we can have remote controls and Xbox controllers and the whole thing. That would be nice. So she died, okay, and the governor, Newsom, who a lot of people dislike for one reason or another, maybe because his state has turned into a open drug den, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but they also don't care about laws. They don't, they're very liberal. They're the most liberal, obviously the most liberal state. I live in another very liberal state, but I think California takes the cake, especially with a move like this, because Newsom said 2 years ago in 2021 that he would nominate a black woman to replace her being Senator Feinstein, if her seat became vacant. Okay, so that was 2 years ago, and Feinstein was 88. He's talking about if. You mean when. You know that she was probably making enough money that she was going to stay there until she died. So when the motherfucker, whatever, right? But this part's interesting to me because he's literally saying 2 years before this woman dies that if her seat gets relinquished somehow, right, then he's going to hire a black woman. He's just going to hire a black woman. I mean, I would assume, I think, okay, I would hope that that's under the assumption that this woman is credentialed, that she has done, she's done some stuff, right? She's at least in the game in some facet. But who he ended up hiring and who he ended up appointing really drives home the fact that he's kind of doing it for the box checking, okay? He's kind of doing it to check some boxes because the woman that he appointed, and I know nothing about her aside from what this Roca News article on Instagram, shout out Roca News, big fan, been a big fan for the whole time. Maybe one day I'll get you guys to notice me. She's going to be taking over. Her name is LaFonza Butler, okay? LaFonza Butler. That's a real black woman's name. That is not, who, hold on, somebody's buzzing my phone. Yeah, LaFonza Butler. That's a real black woman's name. That is not, that's no ambiguous name where you think, maybe that's a German woman, right? Maybe she's Hungarian, There's none of that. There's no cultural ambiguity here. Sorry, I can't talk. There's none of that. Just by the name that this is a beautiful black woman. And some more you should know about her is that she is a lesbian. She is the first black lesbian senator. to serve, to serve as a senator, and good for her. We're not going to say that it was a diversity hire. We're not going to say that. We aren't going to do that, okay? We're not going to say that she's getting hired because she checks a lot of boxes and it's for the state of California, the most liberal state, the most, the most progressive state that there is. We're not going to say that she was hired because she's a black lesbian woman. We're not going to say that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to say that a 9-year-old Jewish dinosaur died and now the complete opposite of that is going to be there. We're not going to say it. We're not going to say that. We're going to say that she was a former union leader who more recently led Emily's List, a fundraising group that supports pro-choice women. That's what we're going to say. We're going to say that instead. We're not going to say that her sexual preference and a biological accident is what got her the job. We're not going to say that. Nope. No. Nope. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Okay? And that's that. She is a union leader. Okay? That's a big deal. That's a big deal. She's a union leader, and she's pro-choice for women, which is good. Okay, I'm there. I'm with you. I'm with you, sister. Yeah. It's good. It's good, and she's going to be the first of many. She's going to be the first of many across the country. Across the country, she's going to be. Hey, maybe her and Bowman, they can pull fire alarms together. Huh? Why not? They can skip and pull fire alarms together. Now, I'm over here talking very much, and you may think, according to past episodes like the protectdemocracy.com type deal, you guys might think I am, leaning right, okay? And I'm really not. I'm not. I think there's things to be considered on both sides. I like to consider myself a bit of a centrist, I don't love a lot of the conservative stuff other than the idea of being able to protect yourself and your family. If you want guns, I don't care about guns. I don't have any guns, but if you want them, you should be able to have them. I think that's important. I think that a lot of the progressives are trying to stifle some freedom of speech, which you guys know I am an absolutist in. I feel like you should be able to say everything, even though I don't necessarily say everything because I'm nervous to say certain words, of course, as I should be. But I believe it in theory, at least, that you should be able to say, and I say pretty much everything, almost everything, not, all of them, but some of the words that people don't like to say, I do say. I like to say retard and faggot and those type of things. And I've already said them both now, so there's no taking it back. But I like that I took a moment just to say the two words that everybody is starting to say again, and say that I'm, pro whatever. But I feel like the left is maybe, starting to, for whatever reason, nullify some of that because it's not going with what they want and whatever. And I'm not here to get political, even though I like to talk about it. I like to talk about the theater of it because it's funny. It's fun. I think it's just ironic, right? It's ironic that this is literally it's a theater. It's an absolute theater, and everyone knows that. Everyone knows that it's, this whole game is sports for weak people, just like sports is politics for dumb people. It's the same performative bullshit. So, anyway, enough about that. What else can we talk about that's a little more fun? Just a little more fun, right? We kind of been hitting it hard at the beginning of this. How about some pop culture? How about some Kanye West? Everyone loves a little Kanye West, except for the Jews, and for good reason. He's very much on the absolutist mind state of freedom of speech, right? He says just about anything he wants. and he's got a documentary that he's working on right now, and a lot of his stuff is getting leaked, and people are excited. You cannot deter people from Kanye West. He is the perfect you can't deter people from worshiping this sociopath, right? Kanye West has grown on me over the years. He's grown on me over the years. I don't mind him much anymore. I think he's exciting, and I had this change of heart before the Adidas controversy. Okay, let's just nip that in the butt right now. Take the legs out from under that argument. I started, tolerate him much before that. Specifically around the time when he brought DMX to the Sunday prayer thing, because you all know he's my favorite rapper of all time. He might be one of my favorite musicians of all time, so that kind of helped. But Kanye West, no stranger to controversy, loves to say fun, outlandish things, and he, of course, believes in an Illuminati. He believes in the whole thing, and he was talking something about Cardi B. He thinks Cardi B is just a government plant. Okay, these are his words. There's a video, but the audio's not that great, so we're not gonna mess with it. She has literally replaced Nicki Minaj purposely, and they put her there, and now she doesn't know what to do, and she's just she has no idea what the fuck is going on. She thinks it's just a blessing from the universe. Ain't no blessing from the fucking universe. Okay, so he is basically saying that she's on there to be. So here it is. That's why fucking Cardi B was over there. Cardi B is a plant by the Illuminati. She doesn't write her raps. She's just there to sound as ignorant as possible and then make songs like fuck 'em and then get some money. Yes, okay, he's saying he's going Oliver Anthony on us right now. He's saying what we're all thinking. He's saying what we've been thinking for years about Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, and in this vein of female rappers that have not much to bring to the table. And there's male rappers as well. It just so happens that he's talking about Cardi B. But you put Cardi B in the same lane as someone like Lil Pump, okay, who have their niche for a little while. Only thing with Cardi B is she kind of took Nicki Minaj and amped it up. She got ratchet. She got real, like a little more on the hoe side. She's a lady, but she's a freak at the same time. She kind of played both sides where Cardi B is a ratchet hoe who, and this isn't me. This isn't me saying these things. I'm not slut-shaming her. I'm not doing anything. This is her. This is what she does. This is what she influences. And then now we've gotten to the point where we have girls like Sexy Red going on there and saying, my pussy pink, but my booty hole brown. I mean, I can't help but kind of agree with Kanye here, and again, this is one of the few times I didn't agree with him. I'm not a massive Kanye fan, okay? I think he's interesting. I think his music is good, okay? I like that he pushes the boundaries as an artist, and I like that he says whatever the fuck he wants. Now, what he's actually saying sometimes, again, not condoning it, but here in this case, I have to agree with him. I have to agree. And I mean, J. Cole has said this in his songs too, and when he talks about 1985 and the whole thing, and it seems that's what the entertainment industry is as a whole, especially music. I mean, music, you see what they've done to rap and hip hop. They've pretty much just it's a brand. Everything is a brand now. Everything's a fucking T-shirt. You know that, right? I mean, you can get a T-shirt with Che Guevara on it. You could get a T-shirt with Mao or Lenin and a poster. And I mean, you're just buying into it's you being a part of the fucking system. You follow what I'm saying? That's what it is. But especially with hip hop, it's become a very bastardized genre. It's been much more simplified. It's just different, right? It's different now, and they're selling you a lifestyle. It's not necessarily about the art anymore. Same thing kind of happened with rock in the 80s, right? Where in the 80s it was like, yeah, party, have fun, boo, and they're kind of selling you a lifestyle. And then the 90s switched it up, and it's like, this is also rock, and it's fine, right? It's the natural progression of art, and whatever the fuck you want to call it. It just so happens that the natural progression sometimes gets influenced by dirty, money hungry, uh, you know, grubs, money hungry grubs, life size grubs, walking in suits, walking in places and saying, "Hey, she's got a fat ass, she's got a nice pussy. Let's see if she'll talk about it. Let's write these songs about her. Let's write these songs that we think resonate with her, and then she'll be like, yes, these work, and then those will translate over to people who like her, and the whole thing. It's a thing, and I feel like Kanye West is kind of on the nose here. He's kind of saying what we all. I mean, that's kind of the case with any genre, right? Any genre of it's not necessarily music, but I mean, think about movies, right? Think about movies. When there's very rarely a thought provoking movie at the top of the charts, at the top of the IMDb or whatever the fuck, right? The critics, the critically acclaimed movies now are remakes. They're Marvel movies that are made by the same corporations that feed it to us and whatever, right? There's always going to be that. That's probably why mainstream stuff has a reputation for being bullshit, because it usually is. It's usually being fed to us by people who have no artistic merit. They have no idea on what it's like to create ideas and cultivate them and see them through. And then finally you have a creation. It's more about, hey, we have a lot of money. We're going to give you a lot of money to make something that makes a lot of money. So let's go with the tried and true formula. Let's talk about fucking and partying. That's like the same thing. There's a video of Tupac talking about the future of rap when he was alive, and he's like, well, it depends how big guys' balls are, right? He didn't say guys, he said something else, right? But he said it depends what people are gonna, if they got big balls like me, then we'll see. Rap's gonna be in an interesting place, but if not, then people are gonna talk about the same thing everyone talks about: getting money and fucking and partying and everything that is good in life, everything that is hedonist in life. And they completely ignore the other side, right? And that's the same thing with social media and the production of mainstream things. They're all squeaky clean, perfect, appeal to the largest sample size across all ages, right? I mean, what else is more attractive to a more wide range of ages than a song about Cardi B's pussy and ass? I mean, you could play Cardi B's pussy and ass to a 2-year-old all the way on up to an 86-year-old. I mean, it's like the Marvel movie of music, right? I mean, you can really, anybody can listen to Cardi B. I like Cardi B. There's some music, I mean, Kanye probably likes some Cardi B songs, backing it up, right? I mean, no, I agree with him. And I see where he's coming from. In this instance, and I can see why it's frustrating for a guy like him. Aside from him being a sociopath and feeling like he's a god amongst men, but I mean, when you do the things that he's achieved, you probably would feel that way anyway, right? We're sitting here, barely getting by in life, right? I mean, maybe some of you are successful to some facet, but nobody knows who you are, right? Nobody knows that you've done this or that or whatever, right? Maybe you have a business and people in the county know who you are, but that's it. That's where it ends, for most people. And we're over here saying, well, he's such a blowhard. He's so, he thinks he's a god. He thinks his shit doesn't stink. Ha, yeah. He's probably fucking right. Okay? people who feel that way, and you know, you got guys like Conor McGregor and Cristiano Ronaldo and Joaquin Phoenix, and these guys who have reached absolute mastery at things that they've reached a level of mastery in their fields that people only dream of reaching in their own respective fields, let alone being, you know, a fighter or an actor, or any of those things that I said, very specialized and strange ways to make a living. You know, if you were able to reach those heights, you would probably look at yourself in a very different light, if we're being honest, okay? You're sitting on, you know, you can say all those things while you're sitting on a futon with very little in your bank account, with very little set up in the future for yourself. You could say, well, I'd be more humble if I was him. No, the fuck you wouldn't, because your mindset, you'd be completely different. You're humble now because you have nothing, because you're broke. You follow what I'm saying? You've done nothing. You are nothing. No one cares about you. You follow what the fuck I'm saying to you? That's why you're humble. You have no reason to believe that you're anything else. Of course, Kanye West thinks he's a fucking god. He has Grammys, and he's made music, and he's got swaths of people hoping that he'll make something for them to consume. Right? He's got a real fucking audience. Of course, he thinks he's a god. Is it justified? I think so. And that doesn't need to necessarily be the case for everyone that thinks that they're they have higher superiority, right? Some people do have higher superiority, literally, based on the money, right? And he's got both, of course, but there's some people who aren't creative. They haven't done anything other than make tons and tons and tons of money. So, for those two reasons, yeah, maybe if you did something extraordinary, you'd feel extraordinary. I don't know. That's just me. That's just how I think. Maybe if you had extraordinary ideas about yourself and where you want to be in the future, maybe you'd start thinking like that. I don't know. I just think it's funny when people are like, that guy's a real prick. Yeah, they say that about Tom Brady. He's a real prick. He doesn't sign autographs. He doesn't care about his family. He doesn't give a fuck. He's going to sign your autograph. Who gives a shit? You know? Strange way to view these people. We don't know them. Right? People like to pretend they know celebrities. They seem like a good person. They seem like good. They seem cool. I remember I was sitting down with John Larkin at a bar one time, and he goes, you know, they had Bad Bunny on the radio, and he's like, you know, I feel like Bad Bunny's he's probably a cool celebrity to hang out with. Yeah, he's probably not like Drake. Like Drake is probably like, he probably said, you know, he's probably like a whatever. Bad Bunny seems like you could sit down and have a drink with him. And I looked at him in the face. I'm like, I don't think that's true at all. I think he's a Hollywood elitist. I think he's incredibly wealthy. I think he's going to talk about things that you would have no idea how to relate to, right? He's going to talk about doing the best cocaine on the private jet, drinking the best champagne, fucking the baddest bitches in the world, on his way to go do a show for 50,000 people in Argentina or something, right? That's what he's talking about. That's what his life's about. He's not going to sit down with us and talk about, wow, well, this Slain whiskey is pretty good. He's not going to sit down and talk about the weather in Providence, Rhode Island. You know, it's not. That's not how it's going to happen. That's not how these people think. That's not how they want it to. You know, and it's so funny how people think they know celebrities and they don't. None of us do until you actually go to hang out with them, and you maintain some kind of relationship. And who the fuck's going to do that? Who's going to do that? Nobody's going to go do that. Right? Not everybody wants to do that, and it's good because not everybody should be famous. We've learned that already, right? Not everybody should have a voice. Not everybody should be able to say whatever the fuck they want. Even though I believe fundamentally you should. Not everybody. It shouldn't be able to say whatever you want all the time ad nauseum. You know, kind of like what I do, right? Maybe I shouldn't be able to do this. You know. Just shut down my whole existence for being. But anyway, I kind of just wanted to bring that up because it's something that is at least interesting, okay? Many mainstream artists, big artists like Kanye West, they don't really mention the Illuminati anymore, you know? It's not really a thing that it's not really brought up anymore. Like maybe Eminem used to say it in songs and whatever, but nobody at the level of Kanye West mentions it. The Illuminati is like some abstract thought now, and I'm not denying the existence of secret societies. I'm sure there's plenty of them, and I'm sure there's some massive cabal, maybe not even that massive. I'm sure there's some demonic cabal of people that are looking to run things, and maybe there is some premeditated ideas or whatever. But it's funny that a guy like Kanye West, as massive as he is still willing to bring up something like the Illuminati, especially in the case that he's in now. Where he's kind of in this limbo where people are waiting for music, and he's, after getting canceled and the whole thing, he's still willing to talk about stuff like the Illuminati and shit on other people, which is nice. It's nice, okay? That's all I want to say. I just think it's nice. I think it's fun that he's able to do stuff like that. Now, there's one more, I guess, article we can talk about and kind of end on here. Well, what do we want to do? Do we want to go... Nah, we've already talked about politics enough. We're not going to bring Whoopi Goldberg. Well, I'll just talk about it. I'll just say it because I've already said it. Whoopi Goldberg was on The View, which is a stupid show. It's been a stupid show since its inception. It's a dumb show. It's dumb. It's a bunch of people talking. It's a bunch of ladies sitting around talking about nothing, and they're very misinformed. And there was a situation where Whoopi Goldberg, one of the most hated people, she's grown to be one of the most hated people in this country. People do not like Whoopi Goldberg anymore. Most of it justified. But she was on there saying she wants Jill Biden to be the Surgeon General of the country, and Jill Biden's a school teacher. That's all I was just going to bring that up. Jill Biden is a school teacher, not anymore, but that's what she came up as. She was a teacher in high school, and Whoopi Goldberg was on TV saying that she is a fabulous doctor. She is a fantastic doctor, and then was proven wrong on the spot. Yeah, it was just funny. That's all. It was funny that people on major platforms on television can just kind of say, it's one thing when you're on here and you're on a podcast and you're on the internet and you're saying stupid shit, but it's different when you're on TV and there's lots of money being pumped in for production and the whole thing, and people, you get someone like Whoopi Goldberg, who everybody pretty much hates at this point, saying completely asinine, incorrect things. It's just part of the fun, guys. It's part of the fun that we try to shed light to on the show. Now I guess we can end this episode here, because this next article that I was going to play with is kind of long, and I don't want to end it on this. Maybe we'll talk about it next week when Billy's back. So there, we'll see. Billy will be back next week. We're working on some projects. We're working on some stuff, guys. We're going to get... I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to give any of it away, actually. But we are working on some stuff behind the scenes outside of the podcast. Like I said, he's got a great acumen for this stuff. And we're here in motherfucking New York. We can do whatever the fuck we want all day, every day. That's how I started this episode. I started this episode with a real juxtaposition of my life. A juxtaposition of my life from last year to now. And I feel like that's a kind of a good sediment of this episode. It was a good sediment of this episode because I'm here alone, and I'm sure at some point I'll have to do this again because, as I said, Billy is a busy man and he's got a life outside of this. It was a good opportunity for me to sit here and verbalize a lot of the feelings I've had toward my time there in Connecticut, while also mentioning how great things are here in New York and keeping to our regularly scheduled programming, doing the thing we love doing, talking shit, making fun of stuff, right? I mean, does it get any better than this life I am able to live doing this for all of you to listen? So I'm going to end this episode with immense gratitude for you all. And that's it. That's motherfucking it. Thank you so much for listening. Peace.